Good morning, I'm that dude over there, and I have a bad feeling about making this video. If someone like Joe Cat got bullied because he made a joke video about liking girls of all shapes and sizes, I can only imagine the hate and criticism I would get for simply addressing things I like and dislike about female characters. Because believe it or not, I like women. No shock, I'm a guy, but my appreciation for women goes more than just Unga bunga, the slightest curve make my pee-pee hard. And what I would like to do is have a discussion, talk about women in media I like and what I like about them, and to contrast, talk about women in media that I dislike and what I dislike about them. So if you're willing to talk and listen, here are my 3 points about women that I really like. So this might be a weird point, and I want to start with this. Female characters, like anyone else, are characters, and while I like it, and in fact love it, when characters are at their strongest, I also like seeing characters at their weakest. It shows the audience that nobody has to be strong all the time, and it allows the audience to see that characters can be nerdy, or insecure, or emotional, or, just not unstoppable. It does a little thing that people either talk way too much about or not at all, called relatability. And for me, I don't care what a character looks like. When they exhibit weak attributes, it reminds me that they are also human. It allows me to connect with them, especially when I struggle in the same way they do. And for me, a character that I like who's like this is Himiko from DRV3. Himiko is not a strong character, both physically and emotionally. Especially at the start of the game, she starts out emotionally shut off and doesn't provide much of anything to investigations. But as the story goes on, we get to see her grow. We get to see Himiko begin to emotionally open up. She's allowed to cry when she mourns her friends, allowed to be angry when someone pisses her off, and we see her be nervous about wanting to help. It feels good watching someone like Himiko, who isn't the most competent at the beginning, grow to be useful. And I think the line that really cements this for me is in chapter 6. Himiko wants to be useful to everyone, but among the people she's with, she's not the most useful. Maki is stronger than her, Shuichi is smarter than her, Kiba provides more support than her, and Tsumugi, well, she's Tsumugi. Himiko is insecure about being useful to the group and pulling her weight, so when she actually finds an important clue, it feels satisfying to watch her doubts burn away. I'm not sure if I explained this well or if I did it correctly, but I like it when we see weak characters get to be strong ones, and I like Himiko because she is a weak character that grows to be stronger. Opposed to say Mulan. Remake Mulan, that is. Original Mulan is one of my favorite Disney princesses because she follows a similar journey. But remake Mulan isn't that. She is already strong. She doesn't need to be stronger. And because of this, everyone jokes, or everyone that I know, jokes that Mulan in this version is just a super soldier. She's basically playing the game on New Game Plus. And while getting over a mental block is growth, it's not as serious as, say, joining the army as someone who doesn't fit in, as someone who isn't built for tough and demanding tasks, or someone who learns to be strong in a way that isn't just about being physically strong. Oh, but that leads me to my next topic, and that's... Alright, again, let's preface this. I'm not saying that I like girly girls. The stereotypical, I love pink, let's go shopping, low IQ, boy crazy girls. What I'm saying is that I like women or female characters that are allowed to be feminine, that have feminine qualities that aren't chastised or forced into a box to make them reject these qualities. So, I guess the question is, what are these traits I'm talking about? Well, I went out and did some research, trying to figure out what exactly it means to have feminine traits. And doing this, I naturally needed to know what were considered masculine traits. And for guys, it seemed like there was a general consensus. Strength of character, both physically and mentally, independence, being courageous, and being assertive. And for the most part, yeah, I guess this makes sense. But when it came to femininity, I struggled to find a general consensus that at least sounded right to me. It felt too extreme in painting one type of girl that it felt like a bastardization of what it meant to be a woman. And I don't want to be a moral arbiter of what makes a woman, but it feels like the traits only push the narrative of soft-spoken, submissive women. And I had a lot of great female role models growing up, so to paint them like this just feels wrong. But I think generally this is what I would consider more feminine traits: empathy, kindness, nurturing, understanding, charming, and self-assurance. Pride for men comes from things they can do for others, almost like in a problem-solving sense. But pride for women comes from knowing what they are and being okay with who they are. At least, that's what I think, or I could gather. And for me, I think the best character that defines this is Bulma from Dragon Ball. Now let's be real here. Women in Dragon Ball are not the best handled. Not to say that they're bad, but there's a reason why the most notable characters are men in the series. But that being said, I think Bulma is one of, if not the most pivotal characters in the series. She is driven, smart, prideful, and without her we don't get a story. And we also don't get the best transformation in Dragon Ball as a whole. And I'm not talking Super Saiyan, or Ultra Instinct, or Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. I'm talking about Vegeta's transformation into becoming a better person and husband. Aww. Bulma is given pivotal moments and has some masculine qualities about her, but she is allowed to be feminine as well. She is allowed to be charming and understanding of others, nurturing to her family and kind to her friends without being a total bitch to do so. And a perfect counter argument is literally any female character written by modern Disney. Again, it's an easy target, but it's easy for a reason. The female characters written here are meant to show off women's worst qualities, or just gender-bent idealizations of what men are. Stoic assholes who do pointless action scenes, or pine for characters they're attracted to. I mean, if I didn't bring up the scene from She-Hulk where she's putting down Bruce, it would just kinda be a crime. But I know the art of making female characters like this isn't entirely dead. That making a live-action female character that are feminine but show masculine traits do exist, because characters like Sam from Cobra Kai exist. Sam shows masculine traits, being independent, assertive, and courageous, but also being allowed to be emotional and understanding. She is allowed to be kind and self-assured without sacrificing the other aspects of who she is. Also, this is like the only time I'll be able to talk about shit like Cobra Kai, since I have a feeling most of you come for the gameplay or the anime shit I talk about. But that brings me to my last point of discussion. This one I don't think needs a proper explanation, because I think this applies to all characters, not just female ones. As an audience, we like to see characters grow, to see them make mistakes and learn to be better people because of them. And in a sea of media that tries to push the female narrative of gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss, it feels refreshing to hear about female characters that aren't perfect. For me, a character like Katara from Avatar is my ideal example. Sure, the easy argument is that Katara changes from being a novice bender to a master over the course of the series, but I think that the changes go deeper than that. We have a character who is forced to take on a mother role, as she is one of the last grown women in her village, and over the course of the series, Katara is allowed to change and act more her age, allowed to be goofy and rebellious thanks to Toph and Aang. Or, if Katara isn't more your style, then pick your favorite character from Persona 5. In a game all about ripping the mask off and embracing your true self, a lot of the female cast are allowed to change too. On to Kamaki, Makoto Nijima, Futaba Sakura, Yoshizawa, Haru Okumura in Persona 5 Strikers. But still, even without the main cast, Kawakami, Takemi, Hifumi Togo, all these characters grow and develop into fully realized characters at one point or another in the narrative. And Persona just puts the bar so unbelievably high. So high, in fact, that it makes characters from, say, Velma look like trash in comparison. None of their female characters actually grow outside of maybe Gigi. And even her change isn't a radical one. Velma is treated as perfect. Even in situations where the show tricks you into believing she changes, it's all a lie. And I hear your argument. Well, Velma isn't a character drama. It isn't designed to be taken seriously. And you know what? That's a fair point. However, I think the show wants you to care. They want you to care about Velma and Daphne's relationship. They want you to care about Velma's well-being. And they want you to pay attention to it. I don't know. What I do know is that I love women, and I want women to have characters they can love that aren't poorly written. This video came from hearing about the Lilo and Stitch remake, and for me, the thought resurfaced in my head. The thought of what the future generation would see from media like this. If they saw a strong woman who didn't show emotion, that was willing to give up family or loved ones for their own pursuit, that would just feel so isolating, so lonely, and it just kind of makes me sad. But hey, what do I know? I'm a man, I'm a stupid lug who exists to be on the sidelines. And if you think that this is sexist, let me know in the comments below. And while you're down there, leave a like and subscribe, as it helps idiots like me who suck at promoting videos. And hey, if you guys like this, maybe I'll do a follow-up with male characters. But until next time, stay safe out there.